Good evening, and welcome to the Legal Affairs Subcommittee. Attending the Legal Affairs Subcommittee are Councilor Higgins, Councilor Melville, Councilor Peach, Councilor Turco, Councilor Gould, Councilor Gamache, Councilor McGinn, and myself as chair. We have one item on the agenda, and that is civil fingerprints and queries regarding Section 16-5, where this deals with the city clerk's office as well as the police department. I'm going to start with the city clerk, Allison Danforth, just to let us know where we are and the direction that her office wants to move in, and then I'll have Chief Griffin come before us and let us know where we stand as far as fingerprints go through the police department and what he's looking for. I now turn it over to Clerk Danforth.
Thank you, Counselor. So the reason this is coming before you tonight is twofold. Our licenses are expiring at the end of the year. We'll be sending out the renewals in about a month and a half, and so I'm looking for some guidance from the council and from the chief, who I've spoke with briefly. And this is regarding our use of queries for licenses and also the civil fingerprinting ordinance that was adopted back in 2017, which we've never used. And so we'd like to start using it. And I have a number of licenses. Went through them with the chief. I have them.
I would entertain a motion to receive late 5.
Thank you very much.
So moved.
You heard the motion by Councilor Turco. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor and all opposed? Any opposed? It's a vote. Clerk Danforth.
Council, can I make that 4 and 5? By the way,
So moved. Seeing no objections, all in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote.
So the chief could probably give you a better, a clearer understanding than I can of the differences between a query and the fingerprinting and how in-depth each of those are. And so if you want to start doing that, Chief, and then we can go through the licenses and he could give a recommendation on how we should move forward.
Sure. The fingerprint just
Chief
confirms the information on the printouts definitively beyond just someone's name and date of birth, because there could be a number of people that have similar names and date of birth, and this would just cut right through that and provide a definitive result.
Clerk Danforth.
Thank you. So like I said, this is to cut back on the workload of the clerk's office with regard to queries. I found out recently last year that the licensing board does a query on their initial application, and they don't do another query. In the clerk's office, we've been doing a query on applicants for renewals every year, and we have quite a few. And so to cut back on our workload and cut back on the police department's workload as well. The fingerprinting does come with a price where the queries did not, and I think the chief has more knowledge on the price. Right now in the ordinance, it says it's $100, and
Right. That's for there is a fee from the state, and then we added that just to have some administrative to help out on our end of it, and have that go into I think at the time it went into a revolving account that we have already established.
Clerk Danforth.
and so that's going to stay at $100.
I mean, I know that we had talked about maybe bringing that down to the 30 because of with the economy and everything the way it is, it's kind of challenging for some of these license holders, if there's an interest in that.
I thought maybe we were going to go to 50.
Oh, 50?
$50, right. So that would be up to the council because that's in the ordinance. So that's the difference. We don't charge applicants right now for the queries, but we will for the fingerprinting, which we have not begun to do. And like I said, that ordinance was passed in 2017. So I have a list of licenses in late 5, and the chief and I briefly went through them, and he gave me his recommendation on which ones should require a fingerprinting and which ones require a query and how often. So if you want me to go through the list and stop me if you have any questions. So an auctioneer license, I haven't done one of those, and so the chief has recommended that we do a query when we get one of those. The bowling alley license shouldn't require any because they also already have an entertainment license, and so we're not going to do two. So most of the bowling alleys have an entertainment license, and so doesn't the new place up at the mall that has the pool tables. So no background recommended on that. Class 1, 2s, and 3s. It's required right now for Class 2s, and so we'd like to keep that the way it is, that we do a fingerprinting every year on the Class 2 licenses. The Class 1 licenses are held by corporate entities who vet their people, and so it doesn't seem that that would be necessary. Moving on to the entertainment licenses, the chief has recommended that the non-live, which means TVs only or radio, get one query when they are initially set up, unless there's a change in the management. And for the entertainment licenses that have live entertainment, the chief has recommended that we do a query every year. Fortune teller license, that is required for fingerprinting in the ordinance, and the chief would like to keep that the same way. The in-holder license would also have just the query run initially, and then unless there's a change in management. I think if the council does decide to do it this way, I would like to add probably some language on the applications so that applicants understand that they're signing that nothing has changed in their background. Next, we go on to the junk dealers license. That requires fingerprinting. We'd like to keep that the same way. The limousine license needs fingerprinting. We'd like to keep that one the same way. The lodging house license, we are on the one query and not again unless there's a change in the management. The one-day license, the chief had suggested that we do that once a year. And the reason for that is sometimes the people are from out of state, and so it would be hard to get them to come in if they come in 3 times a year. So for instance, Descenza Diamonds has a company come in and they buy and sell used, I don't think it's just jewelry, but it could be silverware or whatever. And so they're from out of state, and so he's suggesting just once a year doing the fingerprinting. And it's generally the same company, the same people who come back every year. The outdoor dining license would be similar to the entertainment license, since it already requires a query for the entertainment. He doesn't suggest doing a second one for the outdoor dining license at the same time. The same for the pool and billiard. And then, of course, the taxi cab licensed driver has a fingerprinting requirement already, and we'd like to keep that the same. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Clerk Danforth. Councilor Melville.
Thank you. So just to clarify, so a lot of these actually kind of overlap with one another. So
Correct.
with the idea, I mean, I assume we're not going to charge them for each
No,
license.
no.
But, and do we currently on the renewals have anything that references a change in ownership or a change in the status of the ownership with regards to?
Clerk Danforth.
There is a blurb on there that if there's a change in management, they're supposed to notify us. I don't think I've ever had anybody notify us, but
Yeah, I think, I mean, I guess there's a couple different ways to do that. So a lot of the fingerprinting is the initial application. And you had mentioned, are there going to be some that have to get fingerprinted every year? Is that?
When they get renewed every year.
Okay. Is there any chance that that will be like a bottleneck kind of process?
I mean, if it could potentially do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine if they're the same folks, then I suppose we could go to 2 years if you think that that'd be easier.
Yeah, I mean, I just in my experience, having some background in this, typically having a question prompted on the renewal, it does a couple different things. If they lie and you find out about it, you can just revoke the license right away. There's no recourse in most cases because they're signing under the pains of penalties. But additional to that, a lot of communities, they'll have, and then this is just through experience, that they'll, if they have the renewal season starts in, November, December, there can be sometimes a bottleneck in resources, whether it be law enforcement or clerk's office, can be kind of held up doing that. And it might unnecessarily delay or force you to move resources around you typically wouldn't. So if you were to do this annually or biannual, however you want to set it up, you might have like a rolling check. So it says like, hey, come in April, you're all set. So when you renew in November, December, you'll be okay.
That's good.
Just a suggestion. There's a number of communities that have very similar processes that overlap with the rest of them, but you're going to have, like, your in-holders are going to be doing their building fire inspections in November along with the other licenses that they have. They're going to have a lot going on, and like the bowling alleys. So I just, if I'm not sure fingerprint, and it's just my thought, and I defer to you, Chief, if you think you might have scenarios that played out, but I don't know if fingerprinting every year might be a little much offhand. I don't know, but if you do it, if you want to do it every year, if you insist that's something you want to do, I'd suggest having some sort of rolling way of doing it so that it's one less thing for your office, Allison, to have to worry about if they can come in and say, yeah, I'm good for this year or the next 2 years. It might give you that opportunity, so. But thank you. I think this is a great idea to at least look at this, and I appreciate your information on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Melville. Just for clarification, that's one of the reasons why we're here, is because the clerk and the clerk's office are doing queries on all of these businesses annually. Our school department doesn't even do queries annually. They do it biannually. They do it every other year. So now that we're adding fingerprints, I think that's the hope of the city clerk's office, is to come up with what needs a fingerprint, what just needs a query. So that's the first part. And then the second part is who needs it annually. And I think like a junk dealer's license certainly could, in case they changed hands, or what kind of operation they're running, or what materials they're bringing in and what they're selling. So I think that would be something that should be annually. But then other ones could be either every other year, or even, let's say, every 5 years, or to Councilor Melville's point, give them a piece of paper annually, and if they say nothing's changed, then we're good until something's changed. Anyway, moving forward, Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Allison. Allison, what did you say the cost was for fingerprinting?
So when the ordinance was enacted back in 2017, the price put in there was $100.
Was 100, yes.
$100 for every...
For every time they get
Personally-
fingerprinted, yes.
And thank you, Allison. Chief, what is the normal process for fingerprinting? Is that all done in-house?
Yes. Yeah, we now have a laser machine that we can do them on, and it takes about 15 minutes to do the whole process.
So where's the cost? I know the cost is associated with you having someone to train, and so...
Well, they're all trained as it is, just part of the normal job, but the time that it would take to do the paperwork and be present to actually do the work. That was the idea for that amount. But, we've talked about some of the businesses having difficult times and maybe scaling that back.
Just for clarification, it actually costs money to have a fingerprint run too, correct?
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
also part of the cost that's
The state,
incurred.
just like with a license to carry, you have to pay $100 to the state. To get your fingerprints done, there's a $30 fee to the state.
For the state,
Correct.
and the $100 cost is your
Well, the 30 would be incorporated into the
to
100.
the 100. I know I voted for it, and it's been 8 years since we've gone down this road. Is this the way to go, fingerprinting?
I think it adds us another layer of protection, just to verify the information. As I said, different people have a lot of very similar names, and just to be able to definitively say that this information is supported by the fingerprints, I think.
That's a good point.
We wanted to move forward then. There was a lot of paperwork we had to put together to file with the feds and with the state police, and unfortunately, we haven't gotten to that point yet. Though I was under the impression it was handled, but I didn't follow up, and that's on me. So that's why we're back here now. And they made a couple recommendations on some of the wording, and then we'll be able to move forward.
Chief, what are other municipalities doing?
I know they do it in Salem, and I'm sure there's some other municipalities that do that as well.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief, I came in late, so I'm sorry if you covered this. On late 5, when we're saying fingerprinting is required, is it required by law, or is it required currently by our ordinance, or is that your recommendation?
I think it's presently in our ordinance.
Okay. And so then let me jump to, our ordinance requires fingerprinting for entertainment license and fortune teller license, but not in-holder or lodging license? Is that correct?
It didn't at the time. When we initially made it, no. And Alice and I talked about both of those, and they seem to be consistent with just a short number of people in our community. So they weren't transient, like lot. I think there's, I think we talked about maybe 3 or 4 people that own lodging houses. Is that right? So you know what I mean?
Sure. So irrespective of the number of, or who they are, this would be for, for the future, right? We don't know who they are. But
Yeah.
to me, it's quite a juxtaposition to require fingerprinting for an entertainment license and fortune teller. That seems excessive to me, unless you can, explain to me a rationale, but not for in-holder license and lodging house license, because I see those, anytime you move humans, because taxi cab, it's required, where you move or house humans or have anything to do with humans, that concerns me, that we wouldn't have fingerprinting for in-holder or lodging, because with human trafficking and things like that.
True. That's a
That, to
good
me,
point.
is glaring, that we should have fingerprint required for those two. But I think it's kind of like excessive. What's a fortune teller going to do? What trouble is a fortune teller going to cause if you can't determine, you're not absolutely sure of their identity and you need their fingerprint to prove it?
I mean, my history is in Salem with a lot of fortune tellers and a lot of different investigations involving them, and so that was where that came from. I see your point about the human trafficking, and in light of that, I would agree with you that should require fingerprinting.
An entertainment license? Someone for a television?
That's what I think we had split that.
Okay, that you split
Yeah.
them, so one is and one isn't.
Yeah, the non-live entertainment, we wouldn't require a fingerprint, because it's a...
Yeah, so those are just my thoughts, and it's, what is it, $100
Yes. Presently it is, yes.
to be lumped in with the Corey in the application, all bundled together?
Yes.
Yeah, I just, an effort to be as business-friendly as we can. I don't want to be excessive with really
think that-
stringent fingerprinting requirements if it's not necessary. And on the other side, not fingerprinting people where I think we should with those type of licenses. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want some clarity from the clerk, so I'm understanding all of this. I take into consideration that I agree with Councilor Manning Martin about the lodging house licenses. I think that's necessary. What is it that you want here? So I get the list is here of what's going to get fingerprinted, but what's your preference with Corey? Do you have a specific preference? Is it every 2 years? I mean, obviously, we give you some deference in that, so I'm just trying to understand what you'd like to see.
Depends on which license we're talking about.
Okay, so obviously, we're going to vote on this, so with that said, do you want to point out which ones you want to do yearly and which ones you would prefer to do biannually?
Yes, I can tell you which ones.
Okay.
So the auctioneer license, the non-live entertainment license,
This is yearly that you're stating to me right now?
right.
Or yearly you want to do these?
Most of them had a Corey done already last year, so.
So just for clarification, the ones you're mentioning right now would be a one-time only, not to be done again?
Unless there was a change in management.
Okay, so it would be one time only, and then annually you would send out a form that says, is everything status quo?
Well, they'll fill out their renewal form, and we'll add some language there and they would sign the bottom saying that nothing has changed.
Perfect, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
So Councilor Manning Martin brought up the in-holder, which is the next one, because I think we already discussed fingerprinting being required for the fortune teller license. So if the council would like to add the in-holder license and the lodging house license to the ordinance to require fingerprinting annually, that would have to be an ordinance change. The junk and limousine license already required fingerprinting.
And no Corey for that, or you want to continue with a once-a-year Corey or a one-time Corey on that?
Which one?
The junk dealer's license?
No, I think we should just do the fingerprinting
Just
license.
no Corey at all on that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, the fingerprint includes a Corey check.
right. So it wouldn't be two separate processes.
Okay, so still one Corey will be done, and then until there's a change of management on that one also?
One
I'm-
fi-
I guess maybe it's easier for you to tell me which ones you're going to continue to do yearly, or that you prefer to do biannually. That seems like most of them are going to be one time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so can you tell me, are there any that are yearly, or will you prefer to be biannually?
There are some that will be fingerprinting every year, but I don't think any would be quarried every year.
Okay. All right, so this solves your issue then? I mean, everything, I'm trying to solve your issue, and I'm just trying to...
Yes, but I need the ordinance changed where it says entertainment license number 4 to be live entertainment only. We need to add a one-day license to that list as well. So that would be number 9. And then Councilor Manning Martin suggested adding the in-holder and lodging house license to the fingerprinting as well.
Okay, and then for taxi cab licenses and limousine licenses, what will happen with them? Will we continue to query those drivers yearly?
Well, there would be fingerprinted requiring.
Yearly on the fingerprinting? Because that's another concern, you know, I share as Council Manning brought up with in-holders licenses, I share her concern with regard to taxis and limousines, you know, with...
I will tell you that very often when people come in for those renewals, they don't pass a quarry.
Right, and hence my
So
concern.
that's why we should,
Yeah,
we're
it's
sticking
very
with that.
transient.
Okay, so that'll remain yearly on those, or each and every time they renew, or?
I don't know in the ordinance whether this is required yearly. Chief, do you know
It's-
whether
The
this-
taxi cabs and the limousines, it says
Right. So I
they
think
require it
anything
yearly.
that requires fingerprinting would be yearly.
Okay. All right, and then while I'm on the subject, Chief, I just wanted to ask you, I was just kind of glancing at this earlier today, the language change in late 4, where it says, change this sentence, the police department shall communicate the result of fingerprint-based criminal record background checks to the applicable licensing authority within the city. The police department shall, in addition, render to the licensing authority its evaluation of the applicant's suitability for the proposed occupational activity based upon the results of the criminal records background check. And you want to change that to the police department shall report their determination. There was one word, the police department shall in addition render to the licensing authority its evaluation of the applicant's sustainability, suitability for the proposed occupational activity based upon the result of the criminal records check and any other relevant information known to it. What am I missing? What's changing there?
It's more, on the second request, it's just a change from the folks at Department of Criminal Justice Systems Information were concerned. The way it read, that it seemed like I would actually share actual Corey information with anybody who was going to be hearing the appeal, whereas we're only supposed to say whether the person passes or fails. And then it's on the applicant themselves to bring forward any information regarding that. They didn't want me coming in here recounting someone's criminal history verbatim.
I get you. Okay. I was
So
trying to.
that's why it's changed that way.
Okay, I understand it now. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Clerk Danforth, I support what the needs of your office. So, I mean, that's why I'm kind of, I guess the onus is on you to kind of word this how you want to word it, and then we can put it into ordinance and with the chief, and I would be in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Turco. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad Councilor Manning brought up the in-holders in the lodging house, because that one was kind of glaring to me. I know we have it's a small group of people that isn't transient right now, but as we move forward, can you, through the chair to the clerk, I thought you said to do a Corey every year for live entertainment, but is it, you want to do fingerprinting every year for live entertainment?
Right, I may have misspoken originally. I have written from my notes with the chief that we would have fingerprinting done every year with the live entertainment.
Okay. And through the chair to the chief, and I don't know that you will know this information, actually, Councilor Melville might know the information. For liquor licenses, all of these live entertainment places have liquor licenses, which triggers the need for the entertainment license. I know they don't have to run a Corey every year unless there's a change in management. The new manager has to be put on the license, but do we do like any further digging? Like if they don't change their management and have to change their liquor license, like I feel like to charge them $100 to get their a fingerprint done every single year, when like they could be in a lot of trouble and lose their liquor license if they don't report a change in management, which should then, if we all talk to each other, which I know seems simpler than it actually is, but if changing management for a liquor license would trigger having to run this for this license, like to me, I feel like charging someone $100 on top of everything else that restaurant owners pay. I mean, $100 is, we can pish-posh at $100, but it's just another fee when nothing could have changed. I mean, we have some restaurants in Peabody that have had the same manager for 2 decades, family-owned restaurants, and every year they're going to have to pay $100 and take time out of their business to come to the police station and get fingerprinted. So I just feel like, I don't know if we have a way to do that. That was the only one that I felt was, I guess I'll call it excessive. The other ones seem, they're dealing with, you're driving someone in a car, or you're providing lodging for someone, and I really want to make sure that person is who they say they are. But the restaurant manager at the downtown restaurant, that brings the band into play. They have to pass a Corey to have the liquor license, so I just don't know if there's a reason, and maybe I'm just missing it.
Danforth.
So a lot of the entertainment licenses for the chains have managers who change every year. And so it's a new manager, and I don't know they're a new manager until I send the renewal out and I get a new name in. So it was kind of catching the people who change every year. I understand a lot of them don't, but many of them do change hands, the manager every year.
So through the chair to the clerk, they'll still have to renew the license every year. We're not changing that, but like to say, if there's no changes in your management, then we don't have to, you check this box saying there are no changes. But if there are changes, like they're telling you that there's a change now, so then they would come in and they would have to do this process because it's a new person. But that's just what if there's a change in management, then to go through that process. But if there's not, to have it be a one-time on when they get it. Because I'm sure a lot of the liquor licenses here, it's really only the chain restaurants that see frequent changes to the manager who's listed on those licenses. But and I know that they have to run a query every time there's someone new that comes in. So
I would defer to the chief.
Okay.
I mean, we could have it that if there isn't a change, that maybe not yearly, but maybe every 3 or 5 years, just in case something happened with that person in the interim that we don't know about. I mean, the idea, like, kind of the idea is it's like a nationwide search. So if this, we could have someone here, but they go down to Florida and something happened down in Florida that we never hear about back up this way. That would be my only concern. But, maybe every year I could see that being a lot, so maybe a 3 or 5 year look might be a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I think we're accomplishing what the clerk was looking to do, which is lessen the burden on that office, and especially when we're running queries for people who have liquor licenses, and then we run a query because they want an entertainment license, and then we run a query again because they have a bowling alley license. And I think I have like 6 queries for different organizations in the city of Peabody, so I wish they could figure out that system. But I would certainly support doing this and making these changes. My suggestion would just be for the entertainment license, have that be done at setup, and then every 3 years, unless there are any changes to management. That would be my suggestion.
For live entertainment?
For live entertainment, yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions from the subcommittee? Councilor Turco.
Thank you for coming back to me, Councilor. Just very quickly, so Chief, once you have these fingerprints, you mentioned like if something happened in Florida, is there a way that since you have them, you can just schedule them to be run once a year to make sure that there's been no issues, and then?
I'd have to check with the system and see how that works. I mean, they go into this huge database with the FBI. I'd have to check on that.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. It's in the database.
If you
Why not
have it, just run
again?
it on every January 1st, and then present the results, and then, I guess,
I
bill out
think
for the
Councilor
30.
Melville has a point of clarification.
There you go. I'll defer to him because he's a licensing guy.
Yeah, usually you have to sign an authorization every time. It's got to be notarized, the whole deal. That's typically the case anytime they're going to run your information, because you have to, volunteer that, so.
Nice try, though.
Yeah, no, they do that like with DNA. If they have DNA from a crime scene, they'll run it all the time to try and match it up. So I could see.
Any further questions from the subcommittee? Any further questions from any other councilors? What is the will of the committee?
I guess the simplest way to put this motion is to support the changes recommended by the clerk and the chief, and to also support the changes listed in, I'll say, late 4 and late 5.
With the addition of fingerprinting for in-holders license as well as lodging house license.
And correct, with those additions.
And
from
one-day
Councilor Benavides.
licenses.
And one-day licenses.
All right, you heard the motion from Councilor Turco. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe someone can point it out to me. I just don't see anywhere in here where it says the frequency of any of these. to say, we're going to do this annually or whatever we decide, but I just trying to read really fast.
Councilor Peach, are you referring to the ordinance that's already been adopted? Or are you referring to the items that I mentioned?
Referring to the ordinance that was adopted, I know there's some changes on here. But like, these are ones that require a query. So I just, in the ordinance that we have, it just says like when we do this, it says at the time of the application. I don't know if we need to specify like a reapplication.
I would think we need to add some language to that. Section A, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, that's, I didn't know if it was somewhere else and I was missing it. Councilor McGinn, I think, might know.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, not on the committee, but just observing this, and maybe the question's not landing exactly. I think what Councilor Peach is saying is the full recommendation isn't documented, and I think the response to that is that she verbally gave those frequencies. She kind of ran down the list and suggested the modified changes. So if I heard correctly, so if that's right, then it's on the record. And then the motion would be sound, that we'd be following what she stated on the record. Does that help?
Yeah, I was looking to see if it was, it's not in here anywhere.
Correct.
Okay.
That's one of the things that we had to accomplish this evening was any changes that we wanted to make. And that's why Clerk Danforth kind of ran down verbally the ones that she wanted to either extend out, to your point regarding the entertainment license, making it more 3 years. And that's why it was more of a discussion point to really kind of embake this into the ordinance moving forward.
Okay. I just asked that the motion do include that the live entertainment would be every 3 years without change to management.
Perfect.
Council, what I'll do is I will change the language in the current ordinance and submit it to the council, and they can review it before we send it for advertising.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You heard the motion by Councilor Turco. With that addendum, any further comments on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much, councilors. Entertain a motion to adjourn. You heard the motion. We are adjourned.
Thank you.